I'm going to show you what you can accomplish as a new player to Star Citizen. We're going to start with 10,000 AUEC. We're going to end up with over 2 million just in one casual gameplay session. The starter ship package I'll be using today is the glorious Drake Cutter. The ghoulish green paint job just makes her look totally sick. The entire purpose of this video is to teach you, the new player, exactly how I would go about building wealth in the very first day of playing Star Citizen. The very first thing we're going to do is stock up on a whole bunch of free weapons and armor, and if you happen to be in the Crusader system on Cellin, there's a really good place called Gillette Family Farms. Another super good place to go is located in the Microtech system on the moon Euterpe. You're going to want to hit up Bud's Growery. Now my home spawn location happened to be Orison this time, and I would rather go to Bud's Growery because generally it's way better to loot up all the free guns, ammunition, and medical supplies we're gonna need. Do yourself a favor, before heading down to your loot location, just quickly create a new buying location. For me it's gonna be Port Tressler because we're totally gonna be ripping off Bud's Growery. One of the biggest things you want to understand about being a new player is not to spend your early starting money. Alright, there's always ways to get guns, ammunition, medical supplies, armor, backpacks, things like that. That's what I always do at the very first stage of playing. As you fly into your destination, definitely be aware of your surroundings. This is a no armistice zone, so anything goes. Be aware of any ships in your location. If you toss out a ping and, happen to see any reds appear on your radar, you might decide not to land here. Seriously, don't freak out too much, even if you're a new player. Right now, you are literally risking absolutely nothing for a chance at getting absolutely everything. Most definitely turn off your engines. Some ships are more secure than others when you're getting out of it, so make sure you break your freaking neck to get that ramp closed as quickly as possible if you have a ship like mine. You will start out with a med stick, a pistol, as well as 30 rounds of ammunition, so you're not totally defenseless here. And just because we didn't see any ships around doesn't mean there aren't players hiding here ready to gank me, so just be aware of your situation when you enter. Let's head off into the back room. This is generally where you're going to strike the mother load, and as of right now I'm not seeing any chests in the usual spawn locations. This does happen from time to time, and it just means that somebody got here before you on this server and totally looted everything. Now let's check this other room here. Well, there's generally a box right there or behind the desk here, and there's nothing. So yeah, definitely confirming my suspicions that someone's looted this area already. They're only going to spawn by the front door to the left or the right. There's nothing else in the room, so we got totally screwed, everybody. Now, I could have just completely edited that out and acted like I got a whole bunch of crap on my first run, but let me show you a little trick here that's going to pretty much guarantee that you're going to find loot. Step 1 is to log out in your bed, and I'm really sorry if your starter ship doesn't have a bed because then you are actually screwed. The next step is to pick a different region. I was just in the US, so now we're going to head over to the EU, and hopefully a ship isn't literally sitting right on top of me, because if it is, then we're going to blow up. Well, the good news is it looks like I'm alive, so let's get back to looting. If you made it this far into the video, congratulations, because you have a chance to win the glorious Drake Cutter that I'm currently flying right now with the ghoulish green paint job and lifetime insurance. In order to enter into this giveaway, all you have to do is be a subscriber of Hawks Gaming YouTube channel, like this video, and just comment whatever the heck you want down below. Once this video reaches 1,000 likes, I'll use a YouTube random comment picker to pick the lucky winner. So good luck, everybody. This ship actually comes with a game package, so if you've never played Star Citizen, you might be able to for absolutely nothing. And then why looky there's another red crate. And we've already found some medical supplies. Those are cool. They're not very expensive, but these guns and some of those armor pieces, they're worth a boatload of money. If you ended up wasting all your starter money on buying weapons as well as armor pieces, and then you go out there and get freaking murdered somehow, well, it sucks. As of now, we've done all of our looting right directly into the local inventory of where we're at, so none of these guns are in danger quite yet. You can either transfer them to your ship like so. Right now, if anyone blows you up, well, you're gonna lose all your stuff. If you want to be greedy and collect some more red crates, then just do another bed log, go to a different region, hop into that server, and there you go. You'll get even more weapons and armor pieces. If you end up doing that out of space greed, just keep in mind, do not transfer any of that stuff to your ship until you're ready to bug on out of there. You'll want to head directly to your buying location. For us, it's going to be Port Tressler. We're going to do a quick loot transfer here to Port Tressler, and the cool thing is we're not going to have to land to do it, which is a total bag of win. Once you see the please contact ATC to land, you're good to go. Just hop up out of your chair and then access your local inventory by pressing I. As soon as we get all this loot out of our ship, the better. You can move one at a time, or better yet, just hit the move all button and save yourself a bunch of drama. Operation Rip Off a bunch of weapons, ammo, as well as med supplies was a total success, but you know what? We're definitely going to need some more armor pieces. Best way to do that is just to do a stupid box mission and rip off both locations. This is very similar to what we did over at Bud's Growery. The main difference is we're going to be in an armistice zone, so we're mostly safe. Seeing how it is an armistice zone though, we won't find any weapons here. What we can find at these locations are boatloads of armor, clothing, food supplies, as well as multi-tools and their attachments. Once we have all that stuff set in place, we're going to be able to actually go out there and make some real money, because right now it's just about stocking up. Before I stuff the box mission package in my ship, I generally like to rip everything off first. These white boxes will have clothing items, multi-tools, attachments, as well as food items. The only food items I'm going to be looting though are those colored drink bottles, because they actually fill up your food and water at the exact same time, so that's pretty awesome. God, this wind makes me feel like I'm dragging myself by my lips to the next rip-off location, and here comes another Drake cutter, so we're likely going to have competition for the lieutenant. Maybe he'll do something noobish and forget to turn off his engines, we can only hope. Of course my luck sucks. I went to the other building first, now this guy got here to this one before me. After we get done teabagging the floor, I better hurry up and find some loot before this guy does, or he's going to get absolutely everything. Oh my god, a red crate, get the hell out of my way, bro. Okay, let's hope that there's some stuff in here. We only got one helmet, but that helmet's actually worth a whole bunch of money, almost as much as doing this box mission. Found another white crate, and the good news is it has one of these black cherry multi-tools in it, as well as 3 levitation beam attachments. That's freaking glorious. Yeah, needless to say, the competition for loot here is totally real, so let's grab this box mission, just place it down on our cargo grid, and get the heck on out of here. So yeah, I mean, we kinda got screwed on loot, mostly the armor pieces I was hoping for, but you know, that happens, so it's kind of important that I keep this footage in here, you know, just so you know you're not gonna go out and always find everything every time. Basically, I want to show you newer space cadets every step of the process, you know, without making the video freaking 6 hours long, so I do cut out some of the useless bits. This is our very first drink since starting this playthrough, and since I'm a guy, you know, I chose to drink the pink bottle first, because I like pink. And after you get done being a litter bug, don't forget to put your helmet on, you know, because you'll kill yourself if you don't half the time. Considering we took this box mission, I can't really do any bed logging quite yet, or it's gonna kind of break the contract, so we're gonna hope that there's a bunch of loot here, and if there isn't a bunch of loot here, well, I might start bed logging and be a cheese to get the loot I need. Sometimes you'll be directed to drop these box mission packages off on a shelf somewhere, but in most cases they're going to want you to put it in the Corvalec shipping container. This mission's only going to pay us about 3,000 space cheddar, but you know, it's a start. Since we're going to rip everything off anyway, we might as well start with this first red crate here. That was literally in the exact same room, and we found 2 helmets and a pair of arms. That's pretty awesome. Man, this is looking good. Another red crate in the same room, 4 helmets and a body armor. I'm gonna take it. Found another white crate, and considering I'm gonna really need those mining attachments soon, I'm glad we found some. Alright, now that was a good run. Once I find a really good place like this, I'll generally just bed log, but, you know, considering not everyone has a bed in their ship, let's just do one more box mission so we have boat piles of armor. Here's the loot I ended up with doing that box mission route. Didn't get so much the first time, but the second place, man, we got freaking hooked up fat. Time to drop off the last package and get paid. This time we're going to get 6K, which isn't too super horrible, but I would imagine I have at least 30K plus worth of stuff on my ship to sell. At this point, I have a ridiculous amount of loot on board, so time to hit up Port Tressler. This time we're actually going to land, and I'm probably going to do something I wouldn't recommend do. I'm going to sell everything for a profit and hope I don't die later. Here we go. We're almost there. That's a lot of loot. Every space station that orbits a planet will have a cargo center. You're going to want to head there. At the cargo terminal, you can sell all the clothes here if you'd like, as well as any armor pieces you don't think you're going to be using in your gameplay. I'm just going to go ahead and be a complete idiot and sell everything because, sure would suck if I ended up dying later. Our next stop is the armor shop. Now, realistically, you only need a large body armor and a large backpack right there. You can use all the other looted armor if you want, but I've got a match because I got to look cool in the best arc, so I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of blue armor. I'll be taking 2 multi-tools with me on this run. One's going to have a tractor beam attachment and the other one will have a mining beam inside. Chances are we won't need these weapons, seeing as how I probably won't run into any other hostile players, but you never know. Just in case, might as well just stack up on a machine gun as well as a sniper rifle and some ammo. You can heal yourself with that white medical gun as well, but I think we're just going to use up all these free med sticks. True story. Thought I was actually going to make more money if I sold my clothes here, considering they actually deal specifically in clothing, and, well, prices are exactly the same here as they are over at the cargo center, so might as well have just sold everything all in one location. Anyways, now you know, and knowing's half the battle. Time to take this mean green machine and do ourselves a little cave diving. The easiest way to find a cave mission is just to look under the investigation section of the contract manager and look for a missing client. Just make sure the missing person is actually located near a cave and not some wreckage somewhere, because wreckage is just going to be a crashed ship and we want to find a cave. You'll never be able to quantum travel directly to the cave location, so what I like to do is pick the closest location possible, and when I get close enough, I'll cut all power to my systems. This takes a little practice and timing, but once you get good at it, you won't have to fly so far to get to the cave. When approaching the cave, do so above the atmosphere so your ship can travel as fast as it possibly can, and only start to nose down when you're directly above your target. These caves are easily spotted from a high altitude, but that marker will go away eventually, and if you're really low to the ground, you might not find it at night. All of these caves are now designed for you to fly a smaller ship down into, get all the way down to the bottom in the freaking dark and creepiness, and then find some place to land. When you pretty much get down to the bottom, you're going to find a little cave entrance ahead. I like to land nearby that. Missing client missions won't spawn any bad guy NPCs, so if you see anybody, it's going to be a player. Oh my god, it's dark. Let me turn my flashlight on. What you're looking for are these little gem deposits with the pink gems inside. Press 4 to pull out your multi-tool, then right-click to enter scanning mode. Once you have fully scanned the gem deposit, you're going to get the green optimal zone as well as the red zone. You'll blow yourself up if you keep it in the red zone. Pressing left-click on your mouse activates your laser, and if you wheel up, it will increase power. At any time, if you need to wheel down because it's too hot, wheel down. You can press B to enter vacuum suck mode, which will suck up all the gems off the ground for you. I popped 6 or 7 more rocks a hadanite at this point, and why looky here, we actually found the missing person. I generally don't find them, and I don't care, but that's an extra 4,000 AUEC. There are other kind of gem deposits out there. Aphrite kind of looks like a purpley gem, and the Dolovine looks like a greenish colored gem. Don't bother mining any of those. Hadanite is worth the most. Eventually, you're going to fill up your entire backpack, your body armor, and your leg armor. And when that happens, it's time to go. Now, you could run all the way back to your ship, fly all the way back, or you could just exit to the main menu. This will bring you back to your current buying location. All you have to do is run to the Galleria, look for the admin office, and then we'll just sell right here. When you get on the terminal, it might be a little bit wonky when you select your sell location because your backpack and your leg and body armor don't show up. So, yeah. Just be prepared for that. Your loot is still there. The top one's going to be your body armor, which holds 10, and the bottom one will be your backpack. It's going to hold like 120, and the legs hold like 6. Total time to get all this hadnite took about 30 minutes total. That includes hopping into my ship, flying all the way there, and then mining it up, logging out, and coming back here to sell. So it doesn't take too long to make a bunch of money. Just off of one cave mission, we have plenty of money to start the next stage, which is going to make us even more money. The thing is, I'm suffering from space greediness right now, and it never hurts to have a buffer, especially when you're starting out and you're literally under 100k, so let's go make a little more money. There's no real need to show you the cave missions again. They're basically identical. You're never going to run into anybody unless they have the mission, so let's just go with the money shots right now and move on to the next stage. Head back over to the cargo deck on the main space station, wherever the heck you are, and talk to Space Jesus over here. You're going to want to be renting a Cutlass Black. Renting the Cutlass Black, if you already don't own it as a starter package, is way cheaper over here. It saves you about $7,000. If you try to rent it at an L1 location, yeah, you're going to be spending a lot more per day. At this point, head over to Crew L1, fly over to the Ambitious Dream Station, hit up the hospital, and create a bind point there. Then you'll want to head over to the refinery deck. You're going to run all the way to the back end of the store on the bottom level and look for the Vantage kiosk here. You will want to rent the Gray Cat Rock, and for just a little bit over 32k you can get them the way I showed you, or you can decide to rent them both here and waste a bunch of extra money. Time to do hadnite mining on a greater scale, and over here in the Crusader system, the best place to go is going to be on Daymar. Ariel and Aberdeen over in the Hurston system are also really good for hadnite. First things first though, we're going to need to pick up our rocks, so make sure you land right next to those little blue landing pads. This run might take about 30 to 45 minutes to complete, so if you're low on liquid and you forgot to stuff some in your backpack, look for a white crate. Do yourself a favor before you drop the back deck open on your cuddy and decide to load up the rock in the back. Just spend a few seconds to be extra paranoid and make sure that there's nobody around. No matter where you decide to go to mine, do yourself a favor and head over to the Ohm 1 marker. It doesn't matter what planet or moon you're on, Ohm 1 will always be in the light. So if you fly straight directly down from that, it will be light no matter what time it is. When you get down to the surface, just start spamming your ping button. Now anything that pops up on your first ping that is at least 8 to 10 kilometers away, those will always be prospector or mole deposits. Anything that pops up under 5k away after your first ping, that is always going to be gems. You don't even have to worry about looking up some stupid chart and figuring out the RS signature. It's always going to be gems. All three gem types can spawn on Daymar, so not sure what we have here until we get close enough to check them out. Seeing as how they have a green hue to them, that's definitely Dolivine. They're worth the least, but we're going to get a ton. The only gem I do not recommend that you mine in Star Citizen 322 is going to be Aphorite, because it is bugged completely to hell. And by bugged, I mean you can only sell one at a time. Ain't nobody got time for that. This next bug is actually quite frustrating if you don't know how to fix it. The very first time you enter mining mode, it's going to make your laser point straight up in the air. In order to fix that, just power off your systems entirely and then turn them on with the actual power button. This will fix the bug and return the arm in the proper position so you can actually mine the stones. Now, mining in the rock is basically exactly the same as doing it hand mining wise, it's just on a grander scale. The only real major difference is you need to right click in order to enter extraction mode, and then you can suck up all your gems off the ground. Generally when I'm out here grinding these patches, I'm going to crack every single rock I can before I start sucking them up, unless I get so many on the ground that I start to freaking lag. But you know, if you want to break one, then suck it up, break one, then suck it up. There's no real wrong way to do it, unless of course you blow yourself up when you're trying to crack one of the stones. The rock itself will actually hold 80 CSCU worth of gems. That's 800 gems. When I did my very first ping a little while ago, all these signal boxes popped up at greater than 5,000 meters away, but looky there. That one popped up at just around 2k meters. We know that those are going to be gems. Let's go find out what they are. If you're unsure, you can enter scanning mode by pressing V and then holding down the left mouse button until it tells you what it is. However, it's just so much faster to fly really close and go, yep, I see the pink gems, it's definitely hadnite, so I'm going to mine it. Each time you crack one of these rocks, you're going to get 30 gems, and considering this is an 11 pack, we're fixing to be rich. My first ping revealed all the long distance ores, and this second ping right here definitely revealing gems. The mining part is actually really easy. It's the finding part that a lot of people have a problem with, and this is a 17 pack of Hadnite. I'm about to freak out. This is basically what I have left. The rock is completely full. There's gems all over the ground, and I still have one more rock to crack. Once the rock gets full, you can empty out the contents into your ship and then come out here and scoop everything up. Probably a lot faster than the way I'm doing it right now, but I'm telling y'all, back in the day, there was no such thing as a vacuum suck mode on the Pyro multi-tool. You actually had to pick up all these gems by hand, one by one. We're back at SCD1 where we picked up our rock. This is where we're going to sell all these gems and make a whole boat ton of money. Sometimes the sale terminal isn't going to pick up the rock in your ship, so you want to take out all those gems and then just stick them into the vehicle's inventory. When I picked up my rock, I actually ripped off a little bit of armor off camera, so we're just going to stuff that in the ship as well. Right now we're at 85.6k. Now that's not too bad. I spend about the exact same amount of time doing this as I did the cave mining. It took me about 30 minutes total. But in that exact same amount of time, the rock actually helped me to collect 800 more gems. The Hadnite that I'm selling now that's in my chest, backpack, and legs, that totally covers the rentals for the day on the cuddy as well as the rock. Everything we sell from this moment on is total profit. That's 574 units of Hadnite at 275 each. That is 157k in profits. My inner Ferengi is very pleased. Unfortunately, Dolovine sells for 145 less per unit. That means a lot of lost profits. I basically broke the 69th rule of acquisition. Let's do one more run. We're only going to focus on how to find the gems because the mining's easy. You want to cruise around at an altitude that's under 1,000 meters. Send out a ping about once every 2 seconds, and if any boxes pop up that are 5,000 meters or less, when you already have boxes displayed on your screen, always 100% of the time going to be gems, guaranteed. Okay, wow, yeah, that's a huge pack of gems right there. As long as it's not Aphorite, we're going to be in business. Aphorite is worth more than Dolovine, but in Star Citizen 322 it's bugged, and that's Aphorite. Again, we're flying nice and low, cruising a little bit into the red, but not too fast, and there is another box that just popped up right there under 5,000 meters away. We don't have to waste our time looking at an RS signature chart and hoping that it's going to be gems. We already know it's going to be gems. Just please don't be gems that suck and force me to break the 69th rule of acquisition. It would be really nice if you'd just be Hadnite. Oh yeah, that's definitely looking like Hadnite. I said across her nose, not up it. Let's skip on the Dolovine. This was a patch nearby. I just want to fill up the rock entirely with Hadnite. And while we're at it, let me share another tip with you. There's a reason why I'm finding so many gems packed into a certain area. See? There's another one right there, not too far away. Here's an area view of the OM1 marker over at Daymar. Now notice the hills, the imperfections, the wavy lines. There's a ring of them that go all the way around in a circle. Gem clusters love to spawn in groups around these imperfections. As long as you fly along the edges of these imperfections when you're searching, you're going to really cut back on the time because you know exactly when it's going to be gems, and there's going to be a whole boatload of them all over the freaking place. And that right there looks like a 10 pack of Hadnite. You guessed it, we're definitely going to be mining these bad boys up. That box way off in the distance is going to be an ore deposit, and the other two boxes that are close by are where we literally just mined. Let's double back a little bit and check the hills, and why looky there is another gem deposit. Let's hope it's going to be Hadnite. I've tried my luck on Aberdeen and Ariel multiple times in the Hurston system, and while there is only Hadnite that spawns there, the gem clusters are just spread out too far apart, so you end up spending more time actually looking for gems instead of mining. At this stage of the game, your time is very valuable, so do yourself a favor and don't spend more than 30 to 40 minutes tops between rock loads. We only really need to sell 2 full rock loads in order to start the next method, so we're ready to go. Off camera, I emptied all the gems from the rock into the Cuddy Black, and then I pulled out the rock and just kind of left it next to the landing pad. Now, if you really enjoy rock mining, by all means continue to do that because it is extremely profitable as long as you can keep pounding out each run only taking up to 40 minutes. If you lose a load of gems to a mistake, a bug, or you get pirated, the only thing you're going to lose is your time. With this next method, we will be trading, and we're up to 536k right now, but I need to rent another ship to be effective. Let's risk 271k on a shipment full of gold. We're going to run that over to Area 18, which is paying the most. If you do decide to trade gold from Shubin to Area 18, you can get 3 trips in per hour, and that's actually not too bad. The master plan is to use these profits from this gold run here in order to rent one of 2 ships. You're either going to get the Constellation Andromeda or the Freelancer. Either one of those ships will earn us much more money per hour than we will be doing the rock mining, and that right there is a 74k profit in about 13 minutes. Right at the airport in Area 18, you can rent the Andromeda at the Traveler kiosk here. In order to find the Andromeda easier, just hit the RSI tab. You can rent this ship for just under 71k a day, and it also holds 96 SU of cargo. If you'd like to risk a little less money per trip, why don't you get the Freelancer instead? The cargo centers on any of the main space stations will give you the very best deal on renting the Freelancer. It's just going to be under 34k per day. Choose this option if you're worried about getting pirated or making a mistake. And before we say goodbye to the Cutlass Black, I'm going to sell all this armor that we ended up getting while I was doing rock mining. So we have a couple options here. Now in Star Citizen 322, they added a whole bunch of derelict settlements. You can actually purchase recycled material composite there and make a whole boatload of money. More than with the gold. The only problem is everyone, including their brothers, uncles, former roommate, as well as their cousins and their moms, well, they're all doing it right now. Those derelict settlements are actually no armistice zones, so as you can imagine, it can kind of turn into a war zone, and you don't want to be caught in the middle of that at all. And even though the Constellation Andromeda can hold 30 more SCU per trip, this right here is why I like to rent the Freelancer. Nobody can get in and out of your ship except for you, as long as you're in an armistice zone. We're back at the terminal at SCD-1, and it looks like they only have 33 SU of gold. Now don't freak out too much. We're going to be doing bed logging and region hopping in order to get our gold really quick. One of the issues you'll run into when there's a very low inventory is you'll never be able to buy the maximum. You'll need to buy 1 SCU less. So the way the Frankenstein-like economy works in Star Citizen is all of the servers are bound to their regions. If you want to have a chance at getting more gold quickly, well, all you have to do is region hop and hope and pray that nobody else in that region has bought any gold. Gold generally has a really low stock because it's so valuable, but as you can see, we hopped over into a new region and immediately we can fill up the rest of our ship. Now this is what you're going to have to do if you are renting the Constellation Andromeda for sure. Doing it this way is going to save you a lot of standing around time in a certain region, because once it's out, you have to wait 10 minutes for the stock to refresh. If you do decide to hit up the derelict settlements and start selling the RMC, you won't have a problem buying the RMC itself as long as you don't get blown up by somebody. Where you will most likely encounter the problem is when you're trying to sell the RMC itself at any one of these TDDs. The good news is, with everybody focused on selling the RMC, selling gold is super duper easy. Like, you're never going to run into a problem when you want to sell gold. We started this trip with 579k and ended it with 687k. That's a nice profit. Flying back and forth between Shubin and Area 18 is quite time consuming when you don't have an upgraded quantum drive, so let's do something that's going to be even faster. Let's now trade gold on the main planet of Microtech. We're going to hit up SMO 18. We're going to run gold from here directly to the main city. It's a very, very short trip. And just in case we need to bed log, I'm going to park close by, but I'm not going to park on the landing pads. Now that we're so close, and depending on how much bed logging I'm going to have to do, we should be able to eke out 4, almost working on 5 trips per hour. And seeing as how there's piles of gold here, that's not going to be a problem so far. In a way, kind of kicking myself in my own balls for not renting the Constellation Andromeda. If you want to speed up the process even faster, locate the 4 domes. There's an offshoot of the tram that kind of connects to this little island by the main city. Fly in this direction over here. This is actually a pretty popular place to land. Like, everybody knows this location, and it's going to shave off quite a bit of time not having to ride a tram back and forth. Find a place to land nearby, and you're going to want to run into that triangle-shaped building right in front of us. That's the entrance to that dome there. There is an elevator in there that will lead you to the commons, and the commons will lead you all the way to the very end to the TDD. As long as the gold reserves hold out and I can keep the bed logging to a minimum, we are going to make a killing and get that 2 million super duper quick. Now that you know the run, here's my compilation of money shots. So what's the big deal about earning that first 2 million? Well, it's quite simple. You actually have enough money to generally buy your very first ship that's better than your starter ship. That ship should be centered around a gameplay that you truly enjoy and love to do, as well as be able to make you more money than running ships like the Cutlass Black to do rock mining or the Freelancer to do trading like I'm doing right now. A little under 6 hours ago, we started with 10,000 AUEC and we turned that into over 2 million. It's now time to choose our profession, and since CIG is cramming it down our throat, I think I'm going to go buy myself a vulture. If you want to try out salvaging just like Hawks, head over to the Hurston system, hit up New Deal, and look for Drake Interplanetary. It's going to be done at the very bottom and only cost you 1.264 million. Before going over to New Deal and buying my vulture, I accidentally spent 4 hours on my friend's reclaimer and made 11.5 million. If you want to start making some real money doing salvaging, you're really going to have to get your rank up. Hit up your contracts manager and click on the salvage tab. You want to accept any of these $1,000 missions. And preferably, the closer the better. Your first mission really isn't about making money. Mostly what you want to do is just get your reputation up. Pressing M will pull out your scraper heads, and if you right click, it'll actually change the mode for you. Mode 2 has a tractor beam. Realistically though, we're just here for the rank, so hit Alt W to enter munching mode and then munch away. Now we could collect all those broken up parts for their construction materials, but instead let's just select a 20k mission because realistically we want to get to the 50k ones as soon as possible. Seeing as how this mission did cost us 20k, it's probably a good idea if you actually scrape all of the RMC off the hull before you go into munching mode. Each SCU box of RMC is going to be worth 14k. The construction materials themselves are only worth 6k. So just make sure you turn all that RMC into boxes before you munch the ship, because munching the ship takes up a lot of space and it only holds 13 SCU. RMC can only be sold planet-side at the TDDs, but you can sell these construction materials at any admin office. That includes space stations. Once the depot is almost full in the Vulture, you can come over here to that computer panel and program it to create one SCU boxes, one after the other. Now you're going to have to use your Pyro multi-tool and just stack them on your grid, and if you ever run out of room, you can just kind of stack them in a little walkway to the left. To maximize profits, it's generally a really good idea to fill up your buffer, stack all the boxes on your grid and stuff them all over the place, then fill up your buffer one more time before you head over to a space station or a TDD to sell. Here we are at the admin terminal on Hurl, for I'm going to quickly pawn off all of these construction materials. Now I only got 11 off doing that mission. We only made 66k, so realistically I only made 46k doing that. Now we could have made a whole heck of a lot more if I would have scraped the hole and then went down to a TDD and sold all that RMC. But realistically, I'm not too worried about that, because these 50k missions, these are where you're going to be making your money. When you get there, I highly recommend that you scan these because they can have Quantanium or gold on board. More often than not, there will be Quantanium on board, so I always like to check just in case, but we got screwed. The Vulture itself isn't powerful enough to crack a ship this size, so what we're only going to be focusing on is collecting RMC. If you completely scrape the hull of an A2, C2, or M2, you're going to be making over $1 million worth in RMC. And if any one of these ships has Quantanium on board, I've seen up to 6 boxes, but 1 to 2 boxes is pretty common. Those are worth 80k each. When you're grinding out the RMC on these large ships, take the opportunity to fill your buffer up pretty much all the way, empty it all the way out, and then fill it all the way again before you go and sell. These 50k salvage missions don't come with a timer that forces you to leave the area or fight some bad guys, so you can just come back and forth as many times as you need to until you've completely scraped the hull. You can expect anywhere between 90 to 100 boxes of RMC per C2. Mikkel 1 is actually a really good place to do these salvage missions in, so you can come over here, land by the domes, and get a quick sail in and get back to salvaging. So how long does it totally and completely take to scrape a C2, M2, or A2? Well, you can expect to be doing this upwards of about 2 hours. During that time though, you will be risking absolutely nothing except for your time, of course, and you can make upwards of 1.3 to 1.9 million per ship, and that's actually pretty good money for a solo. And just like that, in half a day of gameplay, you can go from 0 to hero. Don't forget to like this video, then toss a comment down below. As long as you are a subscriber of Hawks Gaming YouTube channel, you have a chance to win this awesome Drake cutter here.